Hey, welcome to Join the Adventure with Scott Batch. This episode I'll be talking about my own personal 20-week Better Brain Health Challenge. And by better brain health, I'm meaning doing things in my body that will help fix my brain. And a lot of times it's like the last thing we think about, but the brain controls so much. I went through to a lecture by Dr. Daniel Amen. I'll put his link down below. And once I heard him, he's a world-renowned psychologist. He's a member of my church, and we did a lecture. It just like changed my life. And so on all the ways that we can have a better brain health, which leads to better mental health, and which also leads to decreased anxiety. Hey, I'll take all those. So in the previous episode, I talked about cutting my caffeine, getting down to almost no caffeine, and then the beginning of cutting out carbs out of my diet, which started with a lot of like breads and stuff. I didn't mention pasta, but pasta was out too. I love pizza, especially after living in Chicago for 7 years. So Chicago deep dish. I don't think there is any other great pizza out there besides that. New York, forget it. So anyway, I started cutting out the decaf big time. I was cutting out the sugar. I was feeling better. And I was thinking, but there's still probably something that I'm doing that's not fixing like the sugar issue yet. So I started with doing intermittent fasting, and by that I was limiting the number of hours I have in the day to eat. And for me, I got to the point where I was having my first meal at 3 p.m. and then I would have my last meal at like 10 p.m. And I noticed that because at 10 p.m. it was like, all right, that's it, because then I'm not going to eat again until 3. Well, unfortunately, I would end up eating too much food late at night, which leads to indigestion. So I've had indigestion all my life, and a lot of it probably caused by overeating or eating too late. So I was doing this, and it was actually working pretty good, because I was eating way less carbs. I was eating a lot more good fat. I was eating a lot more ton more protein. And so my energy levels were starting to flatten out. So instead of being like this, they were kind of like more like this. But I was starting to have mild headaches, and I didn't know what was going on. I started studying a lot, and I was thinking, is it caused by dehydration? Because when you start limiting your sugar, then your body wants you to, is like, okay, something's going on with this. So what we're going to start doing is we're just going to start eliminating a bunch of like fluid. So you start urinating a lot of fluid out as you start cutting all this sugar. And what's starting to happen is that your body starts going in withdrawals from the sugar, literally like a drug. And your body's kind of like, I don't like what you're doing, man. And so a lot of people, when they cut sugar, they'll start going through literal withdrawals. And it's also from like processed food, because those things, when we eat something good like that, what it does is it creates all kinds of chemicals in our body, like feel-good chemicals, and we get addicted to having those chemicals. And then once we cut them off, then all of a sudden, our body's just like, no, we're gonna take over for you, and we're gonna make you nervous to the point where you want to go back and eat the food. But I had to fight through it, and I didn't know there's a thing called keto flu, which is when your body starts burning more fat than sugar, and then when you do that, that's actually called nutritional ketosis. But when you start doing it, your body starts freaking out, and it's like, we don't like this. And so once you start eating sugar, well, I didn't start eating the sugar, so my body started feeling kind of like not the best. Like I had smoother levels, but my body was just feeling kind of like, ew, like it's missing something, right? And what I was missing was the sugar and processed food. Started a little wiggle on my camera. There's a little breeze. But so it was missing these things, and I didn't know it. But there's a way to fix it. So week 3, I got into intermittent fasting, cut down more sugar wherever I knew that there was sugar. I started cutting it down, and I started doing the research on being dehydrated because of this excess fluid loss when I changed my whole diet. So that's what I did, and I was doing the intermittent fasting, which was crazy because I wouldn't eat all morning, but then I would finally eat at 3 p.m. and it was just like, it was mind blowing that I could actually do it. However, if I would have tried to go work out at 7 or 8, I probably would have got a massive headache, and I just wouldn't have felt like had the energy. But all that was going to change. I just didn't know it yet. I have this philosophy that I made up for myself. It's called find the problem, fix the problem, next problem, right? So in my diet and what I'm doing, I'm not cutting the weight. I want to get super trim, super healthy. And when I go to the track, I want to be really light. And this is a good chance. This is a good time in my life when I finally figured it out. Hey, I can do this. Instead of being on a diet, it's turned into a lifestyle. And I'll tell you, I hope if I don't, try to remind me, type it in there in the comments. What happened when you ate French fries with your nephew? It's 4 weeks later. Ooh. And I love French fries. So, so I'm doing all that. Find the problem, fix the problem, next problem. And the other thing in addition to that is that when you're trying to find the answer to the problem, then you want to become like a mini expert in the problem. You can't change the problem if you don't do the research. And so that's what I'm doing. It's what I'm telling myself all the time. Find my next issue, fix the issue. What's my next issue? And you could think, well, that sounds like a long life just full of problems. But it's all going somewhere. Oh man, it's going so many places I can't even talk about it right now. I'm waiting to tell you about it when the things happen. I don't want to say all these things that I want to plan in the future and then I don't do any of them. But there's all kinds of things coming on the horizon, and finding the problem, fixing the problem, next problem is only helping it out that much more. Because what it's doing, it's solving a lot of issues that I have in my life. And then here's what one of the side benefits. Imagine some tragedy came and happened in my life right now. If that happened, what I would try to remind myself to do is keep eating good. If you can do anything, eat good, get that sleep. I would know right away. And as soon as somebody tried to give me something really sweet, my body's gonna be kind of jacked. And that's what happens now. And so I would just remind myself, find the problem, fix the problem, next problem. Well, I have a tragedy. Okay, eat good, sleep, and water. Do those 3 things. Oh, and go get on the treadmill. They said if you get on so Dr. Amen is talking about how if you get on the treadmill and you go at a speed to where you can barely carry a conversation, that works out so many negative hormones and chemicals out of your body that it's just life-changing. So I try to remember those 4 things. Even when the world's crashing around me, try and do those things, All right. So what's coming up on the next episode? The next episode is keto flu. Oh man. Keto flu is what happens when your body is just I am not liking this at all. You're going to have to change something. And I did. So luckily it helped me out. And I'm in week 8 right now, but I'm just backtracking, trying to film. This is week 2 or 3, filming this, and then I'm trying to get to, in the next couple of days, I'm trying to get to where I'm at today, which I can tell you is really good. I got through the keto flu, and now I'm feeling so good. It's crazy. It is insane how good I'm feeling. All right. So next episode is keto flu.